What if the real reason you struggled with boundaries was never because you were weak, but because you forgot who you truly are, a spiritual being having a human experience? Because when you reconnect with your true spiritual, eternal identity, self-respect comes to the forefront, and boundaries are automatic. They become natural. Hey beautiful souls, welcome and welcome back to the channel Soul Unbroken. My name is Anne-Marie. I'm here to help you heal and to reclaim your inner power. This is part 2 on my 3-part series, You Are Not Broken, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. So, you know, many people who experience toxic or narcissistic relationships in particular share one core wound. They don't feel enough because they became disconnected from themselves and from source. And they lost themselves in the relationship. I can attest to that. You may have overgiven your energy to be seen, over-explained to be heard, over-engaged in toxicity to be loved. You may have ignored or even denied your intuition and indeed your power. You may have prioritized someone else's needs over your own. And over time, you stopped asking what feels right for me. Instead, you learned to ask what will keep the peace, what will stop the fight, or what will prevent the fight. So here's the shift. You were never meant to abandon yourself to be loved. That version of you wasn't your truth. It was survival. So, but hear me when I say, beyond your physical roles, beyond your past, beyond your experiences, your worldly experiences, there's a deeper identity within you, your spiritual true self. The part of you that observes your thoughts, feels and listens to your intuition, knows when something is off and listens to that, even if you can't explain it, even if other people look at you like you're kind of a little bit delulu, right? You don't ignore it no matter how uncomfortable it makes others feel. This is your inner awareness, your spiritual core. You, a being of love, of light, and of pure thought energy. And this part of you is not desperate for validation because you are connected, right? You don't need to chase love or rescue others because you are love. You certainly don't tolerate being diminished because it simply knows its own worth. The more you reconnect with this part of yourself, this deep, deep inner part of yourself that we've all forgotten, the less you look outside for love or for permission to be yourself, to exist as you truly are. You don't shrink yourself, nor do you try to fix or control others. Boundaries feel difficult when you believe you might lose love. That's attachment. They become difficult when you believe you might disappoint someone. That's because you've been manipulated for too long. When you believe you might be too much or not enough. That's body consciousness, which is all part of attachment and ego. Ego has two sides, inferior and superior. Most of us fluctuate between two, but when we're caught in these relationships, these toxic relationships, generally you'll tend to feel inferior while they feel superior. But from your true spiritual identity, the question changes. It becomes more, is this person or situation aligned with who I am? And from that place, boundaries are no longer survival, no longer reactive. They are decisions made with clarity. You don't need to over-explain. You don't need to engage when someone's trying to manipulate you and pull you into their stuff and be getting tangled with them. You don't need to justify your needs, because you're no longer asking for permission. And that's such a beautiful space to be in. You're now acting from self-awareness, self-love, and self-respect. But it takes practice, so be gentle with yourself. Rebuilding your identity isn't about becoming someone new. I've mentioned this many times in previous videos. It's about returning to your essence of peace, of love, and of light. So start simply. Spend time in stillness, in silence, even a few moments a day. And you know, for most, stillness and silence is still the most uncomfortable. They don't want to feel to heal. They don't want to hear that inner voice that's trying to get their attention. They'd rather get busy and distract themselves. That stops us from healing. So give yourself that time and space and love to practice that stillness and silence. Another thing you can do is just simply pay attention. Notice what your intuition is trying to tell you. Stop ignoring it. Stop denying it. Stop pretending this is inner voice trying to help you, especially when we're trying to appease others. Listen to what that quiet inner voice wants to tell you. Another thing is pay attention to what drains you. Give yourself permission to step back from what drains you, not to pretend or ignore it's not happening, but as a conscious choice in self-love and self-respect. And pay attention to what energizes you. This is what you want to feed and nourish. And another thing you can really practice is practice saying small, honest truths. No matter how uncomfortable it makes you feel, no matter how uncomfortable it makes someone else feel. Practice saying yes with a loving heart, and practice saying no with a loving heart. Don't wait till you're reactive. For example, that doesn't feel right for me, even if it offends someone else. And if others are used to manipulating you, they will press your guilt buttons. So sit with that guilt in order to heal and release it. Another example, I need to think about that. Let me get back to you. Or simply, I'm choosing differently now. These small moments are incredibly powerful to help you start healing, to help you start turning that self-disempowerment, that self-sabotage, and allowing others to disempower and sabotage you. It starts turning that around for you. But I have to take those small steps, because each small step says, I am listening to myself again. And that is how trust is rebuilt. First within myself, and then in time with others. You don't need to force boundaries to become strong. Simply reinforce self-love over and over and over. You don't need to become cold or closed off or cut yourself off. In fact, I must stay loving to be able to forgive myself and others. And forgiveness becomes your closure. You don't need to get closure from someone else. You get that through forgiveness, forgiving yourself and forgiving others. All you need is to keep coming back to yourself again and again and again and again. Keep coming back to self-remembrance. I am a peaceful, powerful soul. I am a being of pure thought energy. I am a being of love and light. And keep coming back to your eternal alignment and connection to the divine. You have to excuse whatever is beeping. I'm house sitting for someone at the moment, and some of these things keep beeping at me. I'm not quite sure what that is, but I'll keep going. Because when you know who you are, a being of love, doing through your physical body, when you feel grounded in your own presence and the presence of God, you naturally stop accepting what isn't aligned. You naturally stop accepting anything less than divine energy. Not out of fear, but out of clarity and out of self-recognition as a beautiful soul. You are not here to lose yourself in others. You are simply each other's test papers. You are here to stand fully in who you've always been, an energetic being of love and of light. And if this helped you reconnect with yourself, even just slightly, remember to share it with someone who's learning to do the same. They may get some benefit. And if you're on this journey, stay with it. You're doing amazing, and you're not alone. You're not becoming someone new. You're remembering and returning to who you are. Your essence of love, of light, of power, of peace. So as always, and until next time, so much love from my heart to you.